I'm no conspiracy theorist, but if I was, my conspiracy theory today would be that the Australian fake news media, who want to make sure that you've got your 27th booster because it's safe, effective, necessary, and for your protection, not their quarterly profits, out of nowhere today seem to have it in for Tesla. Here's a headline. We'll watch all these segments one by one, and I'll try not to interrupt. But the first one from 7 Fake News Australia. Fatal Tesla crash. Which, based on this title, seems to imply that the Tesla crashed, not the driver of the Tesla or a Tesla being involved in a collision, but the Tesla itself crashed. How interesting. Then there's this headline from 10 Fake News Australia. A Melbourne woman killed after Tesla crashes into... So once again, the Tesla apparently crashed. Also, it's kind of weird that they never mention any other car name ever that's involved in a collision unless it's a Tesla. I'm sure it has nothing at all to do with the fact that Tesla's so-called competition, other automotive manufacturers, spend obscene amounts of money effectively paying the bills of the NPCs in the fake media in Australia. Don't know why I even mentioned that actually. And Tesla doesn't spend a cent advertising on Australian television. That'd be a weird conspiracy theory, and as I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And the third exhibit, 9 Fake News Australia. So I don't know if you guys were counting. We've got 7 fake news, 10 fake news, and 9 fake news. The 3 largest free-to-air television networks in Australia, all running very positive Tesla coverage. This one, who is to blame when a self-driving car crashes? Spoiler alert, it's the fucking driver of the car, you morons. We don't even need to watch this. Now, I just want to reiterate. 3 different networks, the 3 largest in Australia. These are the networks that program NPCs for what to believe and think. Each of them, in a single day, seeming to run some anti-Tesla coverage. This is quite remarkable. It's a triple whammy. These are far and away the 3 largest networks. There's only 5 of them. 2 are tiny, ABC and SBS. 7, 10 and 9 are the big boys. So let's watch this first one. I'll try my best not to interrupt. I'll share a few thoughts at the end, then watch the next and the next, and see if this is fair and reasonable. If they're utilising Tesla because it's relevant to the story, or if they're just trying to paint Tesla in a negative light and or get more attention.
Good evening. A 27-year-old woman has been killed by an out-of-control Tesla that ploughed...
I said I wasn't going to interrupt. It took a few seconds. Listen to the way that was framed. A woman has been killed by an out-of-control Tesla. That implies, to a typical NPC, that the Tesla was driving, the Tesla was out of control, and the Tesla killed somebody. So much for my not interrupting. This is egregiously dishonest already.
Out into a restaurant near Westfield Knox. Her death came on a tragic afternoon for the shopping centre after an elderly woman was run over by a bus nearby.
Wait a second, why didn't they use the brand of the bus? I mean, a Tesla's a car, right, supposedly? Why didn't they use the particular brand of the bus? What kind of bus was it? Was it a Mercedes bus? I mean, kind of weird and inconsistent initially.
A visit to the shops on a Monday afternoon turned to tragedy in seconds.
It's unclear how fast the car was going at the moment.
The 27-year-old woman was walking on a pedestrian crossing when the driver of this Tesla, a woman in her 50s, failed to give way, running her down before mounting the grass and crashing into a nearby restaurant during the lunchtime peak.
So the headline, out of control Tesla kills woman. Then the details, the driver of the Tesla failed to give way and ran over a woman and then ploughed into some structure. But which of those is the impression that sticks with the viewer? The NPC being programmed by this media outlet.
We're unsure at the moment, but the car's significantly impacted a steel pylon that provides support to an awning outside the cafe there as well.
Witnesses and paramedics tried to help the young woman, but she couldn't be saved. A patron inside the restaurant was also hurt, suffering minor injuries. The Tesla driver and passenger have been taken to hospital. Both are in a stable condition.
Have you had a chance to interview the driver at this stage or no?
Not at the moment, so she remains with police, assisting us with our inquiries.
The road was closed for hours as major crash investigators tried to work out what happened in the moments before and if speed was a factor. Police are urging anyone with dashcam footage to come forward.
Live to Christy Mayer at the scene, and Christy, the second pedestrian was hit just metres away.
Mitch, a second but equally tragic accident has happened just a few hundred metres away from here at the centre bus stop. An 80-year-old woman was hit by a bus as she was crossing the road. We understand she has suffered multiple fractures and is tonight in the Alfred Hospital fighting for her life.
tragic day and tragically biased coverage, unfortunately, as well. If this propaganda outlet were fair and reasonable, they would have referred to the Tesla as a car and the bus as a bus, or the Tesla as a Tesla and the bus as whatever brand the bus was. Not a great start from the propaganda media in Australia. Let's see if 10 fake news covers this same story slightly more reasonably, although the headline does not seem to suggest so. Just pay attention. Are they implying that the vehicle is at fault or the driver? Is it framed as a Tesla doing something or the driver in the Tesla doing something?
First to a chaotic scene at Westfield Knox, where an out-of-control Tesla has smashed into the
Now, for fuck's sake, it took like, how many seconds are we in? 6 seconds. The out-of-control Tesla, not the driver, who, by the looks of this, either had a medical episode or a psychotic break from reality, to have hit a pedestrian and then ploughed into a pylon, seemingly at reasonable speed, in a shopping centre car park. Well, this segment also not off to a great start, at least if you want fair and reasonable coverage instead of anti-Tesla propaganda from yet another media outlet whose literal biggest advertiser by revenues spent every year is Tesla's so-called competition. Again, just notice how they framed it. An out-of-control Tesla.
outdoor seating area of a cafe, killing a female pedestrian and injuring a diner. Rebecca Powell joins us live. Beck, how did this tragedy unfold?
Yeah, Jen, an incredibly confronting afternoon here at Wantirna South, where a 27-year-old, or a woman believed to be roughly 27, a pedestrian, was struck by a Tesla just before 1 o'clock. That Tesla has then continued to career into a local cafe, Martini & Co., also striking a patron there. Unfortunately, that patron was very lucky to escape serious injury. Now, that woman who's died, she's believed to have been a worker in the area out on her lunch break, and despite the best efforts of emergency crews, she died here at the scene. The driver of the Tesla is believed to be in her 50s and her passenger.
Just want to note that we've heard Tesla, Tesla and Tesla literally 3 times in the first few seconds of this crossover segment. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I was, my top conspiracy theory is Tesla doesn't spend money advertising. All the other vehicles produced in Australia do. They literally pay the bills of all these propaganda media outlets, and that might explain why you hear a Tesla is out of control, the Tesla did this, the Tesla, but never if another vehicle is involved in collision. It's not a Ford, it's not a Toyota, it's not a Honda, it's not a Kia, it's just a car or an accident or a collision.
They were both taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say there's nothing at this stage to suggest that Tesla technology or self-driving capabilities played a factor. Take a listen to what detectives had to say just a little bit earlier.
We're reviewing CCTV footage of the area as well to determine exactly where everyone was positioned at the time of the collision. The cars significantly impacted a steel pylon that provides support to an awning outside the cafe there as well. So.
And remarkably, just a little over an hour earlier, an elderly...
Okay, here we go. Are we going to hear the brand of the bus, or is it just going to be a bus?
woman aged about 80 was struck by a bus just around the corner as she was attempting to cross the road. She suffered lower body injuries and was taken to the Alfred Hospital in a serious condition. We understand tonight she is stable. Now, police insist that there was no malicious intent behind either of these incidents, and they're both not linked.
So it was an out-of-control Tesla that killed somebody, but it was not out-of-control bus involved in a collision as well on the same day. That's 0 from 2 from the Australian fake news media. Now over to 9 Fake News Australia for their Who is to Blame When a Self-Driving Car Crashes segment. By the way, I've already read some commentary on this. I haven't actually watched the segment yet, but many people suggesting that many of the clips featured here of vehicles are either vehicles not capable of operating FSD supervised, and or the footage doesn't actually show whether or not FSD supervised was engaged or not. That feedback obviously from a bunch of Elon D-riders, not people that are a little bit concerned about the potential bias in this reporting from another network whose advertising revenue comes from Tesla's competition.
They're the cars of the future making age-old driving mistakes. Self-driving cars, running red lights, making dangerous lane changes and leaving many asking who is at fault. Tonight we break down Australia's autonomous driving future and just who is to blame when something goes wrong.
I find it quite amusing that this would be an open question, as if you don't know the answer. The fucking driver of the car, bro, is responsible. If you buy a hammer and beat somebody to death with a hammer, whose fault is it? Is it the hammer's fault? No. If you take a garden hose, turn the tap on, and flood your house. Whose fault is it? The taps, the hoses, or yours? That said, if you're an NPC that still watches the fake news media, maybe you don't actually know the answer to this question.
Self-driving without self-awareness, drifting across the roundabout and tempting red lights.
Self-driving cars are improving and they are getting better, but they're not perfect.
Imperfections captured on camera, veering toward a concrete barrier on the expressway, nearly hitting a ute on the Story Bridge and changing lane.
All right, hold up a second. Now, I don't even know if this is from a Tesla or not, but this apparently nearly hitting the divider here, there's no indication whether or not a human intervened or not. Then this ute apparently on the bridge. Let's just fast forward a second. The ute, by the way, the pickup truck, was it stopped in the middle of the fucking road? Let's watch the next clip. The way that was framed as nearly hitting the ute as opposed to braking for a stopped vehicle in the middle of the road. Interesting framing.
Concrete barrier on the expressway, nearly hitting a ute on the Story Bridge.
Yeah, exactly. The traffic's moving here, and this guy stopped for whatever reason in the middle of the fucking bridge. And the Tesla, apparently, or whatever the self-driving vehicle was, stopped in time, potentially saving a rear-end collision. Not off to the best start so far.
Bridge and changing lanes in the city. New technology providing new headaches. While it's in the minority of cars, it is posing a danger for all road users and pedestrians. Examples from home and viral videos from abroad bringing to light the issue of who is responsible.
I wasn't driving, so it doesn't matter.
In Australia, it's simple.
Under Australian insurance policies, the driver is 100% responsible.
Nathan Merritt runs.
Of course the driver is responsible. Where would that not be the case? I guess they answered the question, a minute into this segment? Now we have a Tesla. Let's see if this footage captures the Tesla and shows whether or not it's actually operating FSD supervised or not. Because so far all we've seen is some dash cam footage without context.
Australia's biggest online Tesla owners group. He's had members share their experiences.
There's mixed stuff out about it. Roundabouts are a tricky one even for normal humans at the best of times.
The technology is constantly updated remotely, but Nathan says drivers also have a duty to report any dangerous incidents.
That information then gets relayed to the engineers at Tesla that can constantly...
Bro, are they scraping the bottom of the barrel here? I've got to rewind a second. So this looks like an exit that needs to be taken. The vehicle needs to get from this lane to this lane and then take the exit. They show this clip as part of this segment as if something wrong has been done here. Now, obviously, it'd be preferable to have been in this lane from the get as opposed to move over here now, but they must be scraping the bottom of the barrel if they've included this footage, which is quite benign.
That information then gets relayed to the engineers at Tesla that can constantly look at all the information and improve the different scenarios.
Scenarios like stopping for wildlife, drive.
We've just seen a self-driving car, presumably a Tesla, save a kangaroo's life. By the way, these things have definitely got suicidal thoughts. Driving around nighttime, they'll just fucking jump right out of the bushes right in front of your car. So we've had a few saves so far. I was expecting a little bit more FUD.
And improve the different scenarios.
Scenarios like stopping for wildlife. Drives James Ward has seen the good.
Out on the Hume Highway, it has behaved itself, it has done everything right.
The bad.
And it just kind of ignored that and went straight through.
And the puzzling.
Back to Melbourne, or is it parking again?
But says current self-driving tech can work on Australian roads.
Long distances between either capital cities or regional centres. This sort of software and this sort of capability works very, very well.
It's more road rules in the city where it gets more complicated.
Even if they do it out of 10 times, 9 of them are correct. That one time that it doesn't, you could potentially put someone at risk.
So when will we see fully autonomous vehicles?
There's a series of levels of autonomous driving. Australia only allows to level 2, where the vehicle can steer, brake and accelerate itself, but the driver must remain engaged and ready. In levels 3 and 4, the car can handle much of the responsibility itself, but drivers can intervene. And level 5, fully autonomous, no human input, you are the passenger.
Like the taxis found in parts of America and China, Australia will have its own autonomous rollout in select areas from 2027. Ed Balm, 9 News.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but the segment we just watched, Who is to Blame When a Self-Driving Car Crashes, didn't actually feature any footage at all, wait for it, of a single self-driving car crashing. We saw slamming on the brakes and avoiding a collision, avoiding a rear ending, saving the life of a suicidal kangaroo. I mean, call me crazy, but isn't it in the best interest of the media to have attention-grabbing clips and headlines? Isn't that what they do? Surely there would have been at least a couple of videos, at least if they existed and could be found, but not one. Bit of food for thought. At least the ending was somewhat reasonable. That third piece wasn't at all as funny as I was expecting, thank fuck. 2 from 3 though. What do you guys think about the conspiracy theory that I definitely don't believe? That the fake news networks in Australia, whose big spending advertising industry, automotive, who butters their bread and pays their bills, pays their wages, automotive companies, could that at all potentially negatively influence the coverage about Tesla? No, I'm just kidding. That's a silly idea. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate the content and want to support the channel, check out the links below where you can get early access to daily videos, unlock hundreds of exclusive pieces of content, and plenty more. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.